My heart can't take much more of this. Another incredible race? Another incredible finish? Oh. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Sorry, it's throwback weekend, so I figured I'd throw it back to... Remember when I tried to be funny on this show? Yeah, neither do I. This whole Cup Series season has been like one long continuous highlight reel, and Darlington Raceway today added a few of their own clips. We'll take a look at the top finishers in a few moments. I promise some standout performers today. We'll put this race on the groovy gauge towards the end. We'll touch on a wide variety of storylines throughout, but we need to begin with the finish. 4-0, 40 laps to go. Kyle Larson, one of the best cars all day, won the opening stage, has a flat tire, spins out, crashes. Caution flag flies. Brad Keselowski, the race leader, leads the field down pit road. Both Brad Keselowski and Tyler Reddick's pit crews deliver sub 9-second pit stops. But Reddick, thanks to winning the pole on Saturday, comes out with the lead, thanks to that overpowered first pit stall. Reddick on the outside, Keselowski on the inside, 33 laps to go, door to door, side by side, ebbing and flowing, bobbing and weaving for the race lead. So much on the line. All year long, it's been Hendrick versus Joe Gibbs Racing. Suddenly we have a 2311 Toyota duking it out with an RFK Ford. Ford hasn't won a single race in the Truck, Xfinity, or NASCAR Cup Series this calendar year. Incredible side-by-side racing. Eventually, Brad gets a little greedy, door-to-door into the wall. Chris Buescher, loser last week by a fraction of an inch, suddenly in the race lead, in control. Heartbreak for Brad Keselowski, falls to third, watching his win slip away in the distance. Tyler Reddick up on that wheel. What did they do to that 45 car, the final pit stop? Because he was good in clean air, bad in dirty air. Suddenly, second place in the 17's wake, he was gaining. Kudos to Billy Scott and the 45 team. They made adjustments. Reddick competitive, chasing down Chris Buescher, gets an opportunity heading into turn 3. Tyler Reddick was not about to let dirty air decide this race. He throws it down on the bottom, slides up the track, tries to clear Buescher. They're both in the fence. Unbelievable. Reddick to pit road with a tire issue. Buescher to pit road with broken parts. Brad K back out front. Brad Keselowski won this race. Been waiting to say that for more than 3 years now. Brad Keselowski, the 2012 Series champion, snaps a 110 race winless streak, gets Ford on the board for the first time in 2024, gets his first win as a driver owner. RFK. That's why I'm wearing the throwback Roush shirt. It's been a long time since that building had only Jack Roush's name on the side. Just an incredible moment for Brad Keselowski. When I was a kid, I was not the biggest Brad Keselowski fan. As y'all know, I was a Matt Kenseth fan. They had their run-ins in 2014, 2015. But Keselowski has grown on me a ton, and you have to appreciate what he's been able to do since joining Roush. I remember when Brad Keselowski announced he was leaving Team Penske to join forces with Jack Roush. There were a ton of question marks. He was betting on the next gen car. He was betting on the future. He wanted that long-term stability. If I recall, Penske had given him like back-to-back one-year extensions. Brad Keselowski, a former champion, wanted more. He wanted a new challenge, and challenging it has been. When Brad Keselowski first joined Roush, they were coming off a season where neither driver made the playoffs. Roush hadn't won a race in like 4+ years. It was an uphill battle, turning Roush Fenway, now Keselowski Racing, into a contender once again. Chris Buescher won the Bristol Night Race that first year. Year 2, Chris Buescher went on to win 3 races, was a championship 4 contender. Roush was back. But Brad Keselowski was still trying to find victory lane for himself. Get a taste of winning in the NASCAR Cup Series once again today. It finally happens. I think they said on the broadcast he had like 5 second place finishes in the number 6 car, including 2 just earlier this month or last month. We talked about it last week. Keselowski was second at Texas, second at Talladega. Chris Buescher was second at Kansas, by an inch. RFK was getting close. Brad Keselowski was getting close, but you had to wonder if it was ever going to come. Brad Keselowski's no spring chicken at this point. 40 years old. I think he's the third oldest full-time driver in the Cup Series, behind only Denny and Truex. I could be wrong. Point is, Keselowski is in the back half of his career, maybe the back third, maybe the back fourth. He might only have a couple years of driving left. I don't know. I remember Matt Kenseth saying many times late in his career, you never know when a win is going to be your last. That 2021 Talladega win was looming large. That winless streak looming large. It's been snapped in the most dramatic of fashions. Huge credit to Brad Keselowski winning this race, but also what he's been able to do, rebuilding Roush into a contender once again, changing the culture, adjusting to, adapting to the next gen era, getting the team to buy into this new car, this new modern style of NASCAR racing. It was a challenge. You roll into a building with Jack Roush's name on it, the Fenway Group, they've been doing business a certain way for a long, long time. Brad Keselowski had to help change the culture. He's done that, and now he's reaping the benefits, getting back to victory lane for himself for the first time in more than 3 years. This will be a very popular win, I'm sure. Huge day for Ford, huge day for Brad Keselowski and his entire race team. Congratulations. Now let's get to the drama. Like I said, Tyler Reddick was not going to let dirty air decide this race. He threw his number 45 car into turn 3, slid all the way up the track, but the 17 was there. I will say, you can see the 17 throttle up a little earlier than usual. I mean, Buescher even gets into the wall before Reddick ever squeezes him. Buescher saw what Reddick was doing and did not want to let Reddick fill that space. He was going to make sure his car was still there. That's not to take too much of the blame off of Tyler Reddick. It's just an observation. Reddick messed up. He made a very, very bold move that had a very slim chance of working. And sure enough, it didn't work. And not only did it end his chances of winning, it ended Chris Buescher's chances. And Tyler Reddick, you could tell during his post-race interview, felt remorse for that. Sorry was not going to cut it for Chris Buescher. However, he charged up to Reddick's 45 car after the race, confronted Tyler face to face. Great work by Fox to get cameras and microphones over there. I've seen other reporters get their own good angles of this conversation. You can hear almost every word. To summarize, Tyler Reddick said, hey, I effed up. Once I realized I wasn't going to clear you, I tried to lift, tried to get out of it, but it was too late. The last thing I want to do is wreck you. I don't care about my car, I just hate to wreck you. Reddick completely admitted fault for this crash. Good on him. But Chris Buescher, you could tell, sorry wasn't going to cut it. Pointed at the win stickers. I don't have a win sticker. This means more to me. You have to be better than that. Man, I feel for Chris Buescher. Let's be honest, he was a little lucky to even be in that situation. It took Keselowski rubbing into Reddick to get Buescher to the lead. And honestly, before that, it took that timely Kyle Larson caution to save Buescher from himself. That a borderline two-stop strategy in stage 3 I don't think was going to work out. He was top 5 when the caution fell, but he was likely going to fade over the run. So, to be fair, it was thanks to good fortune that Chris Buescher even had the lead to begin with. But that doesn't make this loss any more difficult to stomach, because once he got the lead, he held it. He did everything right. Reddick, Keselowski likely slightly faster, were closing in on him, but Buescher was holding them off. Tough racetrack. He didn't deserve to get smushed into the fence like that. He didn't deserve to finish this race, shoot, I don't even know where. 30th. 30th place finish. That's 2 weeks in a row. Chris Buescher thought he had Kansas won until they got to the back straightaway on the cooldown lap, and he thought he had this race won until Reddick made an extremely bold move. You gotta feel for the guy. We know Chris Buescher can win races. He knows how to win. He won 3 times last year, made a deep playoff run. This isn't a question of, Chris Buescher's not used to being in this scenario. Remember how well he raced Martin Truex Jr. down the stretch at Michigan last summer? Chris Buescher is cool under pressure, I believe. This is just a brutal loss. Unfortunately, 2 straight weeks. I don't know if his boss / teammate Brad Keselowski winning cushions the blow at all. To be fair, coming into this race, Chris Buescher was, I think, 11th in points. Brad Keselowski was 15th, holding on to the last playoff spot. So if either driver needed a win more, it was Brad Keselowski, because this vaults him into the playoffs. Buescher still has, I'll have to check now, but still has somewhat of a cushion. Who am I kidding? That's not going to soften the blow. These are race car drivers. They want to win for themselves. Yeah, happy for the company, happy for Ford, happy for Castrol. No, you want to win for yourself. Chris Buescher is going to be up all night thinking about this one. He might be up all night, all week, thinking about how last week and this week got away from him. Unbelievable racing, though. Again, this season just feels like one long, continuous highlight reel. Let's take a look at some of the other top finishers, though. Ty Gibbs, close to getting his first career win, finishes second. Good for him. He ran a fantastic race. Young driver at a very challenging racetrack. He never got in too deep, in over his head. Great result. And Josh Berry drove from outside the top 30 to third. Best race of his Cup Series career, at least to this point, no doubt. Well done. 3 Fords in the top 5 with Chase Briscoe in 5th. Great day for Ford all around. Todd Gilliland ran top 10, top 15 all day. A bad pit stop with 40 laps to go hurt his finish. Still got a top 15. One spot ahead of him, Noah Gragson, who also started at the rear of the field, drove his way up into the top 10 at one point. Good result for Noah. How about Michael McDowell with another top 10 after this week's announcement? And Justin Haley finishing 9th at Darlington in a Rick Ware car. And this wasn't an attrition race. He had the pace. That's what's most incredible. I saw a stat. This is Rick Ware Racing's best finish ever at a non-drafting super speedway. Unbelievable from Justin Haley. Great to see that team finally get a finish I feel like they deserve. He's been punching above his weight class numerous times this year. Well done, Justin Haley. Great day for Ford, but a missed opportunity for Team Penske. Joey Logano was top 5 towards the end, but a speeding penalty cost him a good finish. And Ryan Blaney got damaged on a restart when William Byron made a 3-wide move, sort of squeezed Truex, who tried to get out of there, but got into Blaney. Blaney in the wall got the worst end of it. We saw him swerve up towards Byron's car under caution, showing some displeasure. Blaney appeared to vow some sort of revenge. We'll have to wait and see what that turns into. A couple more shout outs. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell were lost today, but credit to those teams. They stayed with it, they persevered, and they got top 15 finishes. That's impressive. Another top 10 for Alex Bowman. What did I say last week? He runs 5th to 10th every single race. He was a little slower than that today, but capitalized at the end. Good result. And Bubba Wallace gets a top 10 after a few rough weeks in a row. Honorable mention to Eric Jones. Missed the last 2 weeks due to a back injury. He returns to the seat, finishes 19th at Darlington. Martin Truex Jr. had a good car, but damage from that Byron Blaney incident forced him to finish 25th. And Kyle Busch. Can we talk about Kyle Busch for just a moment? Are we sure those little aliens from Space Jam didn't suck all of his talent this weekend? Are we sure that was the real Kyle Busch behind the wheel? He wrecked himself on lap 2 of the truck race 2 nights ago, and then today he got into the wall more times than I could count, finished 27th. I get that RCR is not giving him great cars every single week, but he'd had a few good races in a row. I expected more today. Between Friday night, Sunday afternoon, that didn't look like Kyle Busch this weekend. I don't know what's going on. I mentioned Kyle Larson earlier. He finishes 34th today, had great long run speed in stage 1, got into the wall in stage 3, and I think that damage cut his tire down. He DNFs. Another day of Kyle Larson earning a ton of stage points, getting another playoff point even, but not getting the finish he likely should have. Disappointing for sure, but there you go. Those were some of your top finishers, some of the most notable storylines from this race. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yes, I wanted to mention that Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, and Ty Gibbs all earned 17 stage points today, most of anyone. Larson was next with 16. Oh, and when I was talking about Todd Gilliland, I should have mentioned he earned 5 stage points today at a non-drafting track. Super impressive. Honestly, that's probably my most poorly aged take. At least so far. It is early. But remember, a year ago, I said Front Row should put Zane Smith in their Cup car, and if they have to, let Todd Gilliland walk. Yeah, that has not aged well, at least so far. Zane Smith is a Truck Series champion. I think he will figure it out, but another crash, another DNF today, it's not looking good. Zane Smith is having a Noah Gragson Legacy Motor Club type of rookie season, and it is painful, brutal to witness. Hopefully Zane ends up with Trackhouse next year, because I do think he has talent. I do think he'll have a bright future, a great career, but Todd Gilliland so far this season has been incredible. Great at the drafting tracks, standout performance today at Darlington. Like, I have to give Todd Gilliland a ton of credit. He is running way better than I thought he would this season. Well done. Oh, one more shout out. It's a shame this car crashed, but Kyle Larson definitely won Throwback Weekend. Really, Hendrick Motorsports did, getting Terry Labonte there in full fire suit. Members of his 1996 championship team there as well to see the car, to be their special guest. Hendrick Motorsports pulled out all the stops for Throwback Weekend. They deserved that Darlington plaque or whatever they were given. Absolutely, the 5 objectively won Throwback Weekend, safe to say. Oh, jump scare. Yeah, let's put this race on the Groovy Gauge, presented by Electric E-Bikes. Head to electricebikes.com, find a ride that suits you. Another good race with a memorable, dramatic, controversial finish. Shout out to Jeff Gluck of The Athletic. Earlier this week, he ran a story where he polled drivers about what's the toughest oval, and most of them said Darlington. Doesn't matter if they've repaved turn 2, doesn't matter the generation of car, Darlington is a beast all on its own. Too Tough to Tame, Lady in Black, you name it, it deserves the nicknames. It's hard to pass at Darlington, but because this place eats tires wear out, 2-3 seconds of fall off over a run, you see comers and goers. Like I mentioned, Larson was really strong on the long run in stage 1. Shoot, Todd Gillen was making moves up into the top 5, top 6 at the end of stage 1, while veterans like Byron and Hamlin faded. Despite the narrow groove, how hard it is to pass, you saw comers and goers. That's what makes this place so special. It's why the charm has never worn off. And because it's so hard to pass, you could see how desperate Keselowski was to stay side by side with Reddick on that final restart. You could see how desperate Reddick was to take his shot at Buescher when he thought he had it. Leads to these tight quarters moments, incredible action, great drama. I'm going to go 95% for today's Goodyear 400. I think that's fair. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with this score, if you'd go even higher, lower. I don't think this is 100%. We've set a high bar this year. We've had 2 or 3 now, 300% races. I don't think this quite gets there. Come on, we can't just be giving out hundreds. You got to work for them. But this one's damn near close. This is still a straight A student. Well done, Darlington. Well done, drivers. And well done, Goodyear. It's the Goodyear 400. Let's give them a shout out. 2 weeks in a row, the tires have worn out perfectly. Kansas, I think they brought a slightly different right side tire. Maybe it was left sides. One of the sides of tires was different at Kansas. That race was a banger. Darlington, once again, delivers. Some tracks, Goodyear just has it figured out, which again, when we talk about making the cars better, upping the horsepower, getting rid of shifting, all good things, all great things, but I think the tire combination is the right place to start. I'm very interested to see how that option tire works at North Wilkesboro next weekend. I hope we see that thing in action. That is going to do it for today's episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR every single day, all year long, right here. You won't want to miss any future episodes. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters as well. Back-to-back thrillers to send us into the All-Star race break. Happy Mother's Day out there to my mom and any other mothers who may be watching. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, folks. I will see you later this week. Take care, y'all.